This is Nikhil Sharma for Heavy. I'm delighted to be joined by Dustin Poirier. Hey, Dustin, it's a pleasure to have you here with us. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great, man. I just actually finished a 5 mile run and took a shower. And thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man, I'm very excited. You finally have a fight booked against Michael Chandler. You confirmed the news on Twitter before it was announced by the UFC. Can you tell me a little bit about what was going on behind the scenes that you were confirming the fight, but UFC was silent on it?
I'm not really sure. I don't know if they were trying to find the right card to put the fight on before they announced it. I have no clue why it took so long to get announced, but we had been talking about this fight for, like you said, a while before it was officially announced by the UFC.
Yeah. In terms,
But you know how things go with fighting. Like they'll offer me a fight, I verbally agree. They'll offer it to Michael or whoever the opponent is. They'll verbally agree. So the UFC knows we're both in, and then before they send the bout agreements and contracts get signed, a lot of things happen. So maybe I jumped the gun by talking about it, before things were official.
hey, you predicted it. You almost manifested it into existence, right? So, in terms of the opponents that you have faced, where would you put Chandler?
I mean, he's a former world champion. Yeah, he's one of the best 155 pounders in the world. So he's a very, very tough opponent.
Does it matter to you that it is 3 rounds and not five?
Yeah, I really wanted to do it a 5 round fight. I think the better, especially for me, I like to get a rhythm and a timing, and I feel like the better fighter, unless something happens early in one of the first couple rounds, the better fighter usually wins in the distance.
Yeah, but do you feel like it would be more electric with the shorter time space?
I mean, you can make this thing 10 rounds. It's going to be the same energy, going into those first few rounds.
Yeah, can't argue with that. So Chandler recently appeared on the MMA with Ariel Helwani, and he said that it's personal for you, not against him, but because of the position he was in. What do you make of his comments there?
That it's personal? I'm sorry.
Yeah, he said that it's personal for you. Your altercation with him, that was very unusual from what we get to see from you. So he said that it might be personal for you fighting him, but not because of Michael Chandler, the person, because of the position he was in, coming in through Bellator, being the new guy and making a name for himself.
No, it's business. It's business. I mean, of course, every fight it has a small percentage of it being personal throughout training camp, the grind you're putting in. We're going to go out there and try to hurt each other. So that's personal, but this is business. I've been doing this too long. I don't get caught up in all that.
Yeah. Do you expect there to be a heated buildup, or do you feel like things will be more cordial this time around?
I'm not really sure, honestly. We'll see. It doesn't matter either way to me. The thing with me and him at the event, whenever I saw him and I told him, I just had some stuff I wanted to get off my chest to him. That's because me and him have talked personally in the past at events. Once at a Bellator event, once at a UFC event when we both fought in Abu Dhabi, and he was just a different person in person than compared to when he went on interviews and all that stuff. So when I saw him again, that was the first time I've seen him since me and him sat down next to each other and spoke. I just wanted to let him know what I thought about him.
Oh, wow. That's a very different interaction from just one to the other right away. Do you feel like you and Chandler are similar in some ways?
We both bite down and try to finish people. We're similar in that way. I think our fighting styles are very different, for sure.
Yeah. So when I look at this fight, right, I predict that it will be fight of the year. What's your official prediction for the fight?
Let's go. I mean, I don't know. I'd like it if it's fight of the year. That means it's back and forth. I'd like it to be clean, one-sided. If I can paint the perfect picture, but I don't shy away from those firefights. I'm going to try my best to stay calm under fire and technical. But if he competes to the best of his ability and I do the same, it could be fight of the century.
Oh my God, I can't. I'm even more excited now. Fight of the century. I wasn't even thinking about that, but 100%. So let's talk a little bit about what the time off has been like for you. You have been on the sideline for a hot minute there. You've talked about moving up to 170 pounds. Is that something that still interests you? With Nate Diaz being out of the promotion now, who would you look at 170?
I guess everybody, if I decided to make the move up, everybody can be a potential opponent. So the door is wide open for that. But I'm actually not walking around very heavy at all. I'm the lightest I've ever been coming into a training camp 8 weeks out. And so we'll see. I just got, I've been fighting for a while. So has Michael. And the older you get, the more dense your body get, the denser your bones get, muscles change, and you just get heavier over time. You'll see a boxer fight a long career and fighting 4 different weight classes, 5 different weight classes. I've been at 155 pounds since I was 25 or 26 now. My body's continued to grow over those years. I can still make the weight, but I want to enjoy the process. I don't want to hate my training camp, counting calories and doing all this and that. But I can still make the weight, no problem.
Yeah, so your future there is, of course, of certainty for you. The decision making here lies with you. It depends on what you want to do, right? So
it depends on the quality of life I want to live in and outside of training camp. That's really what it comes down to. But the decision to, if I ever did move up, the decision to not fight at 155 would be solely on my opinion of how I want to enjoy training camp and not suck my body down. It's not because I can't make the weight. I can make the weight.
100%. I feel like that's very important for people to understand and know, like, you are able to make the weight, and it's just a decision that you intentionally choose, right? When we look at 170 pounds, the only fight that makes sense next is Colby Covington versus Hamzat Chimaev, right? Now, if the UFC don't book that fight and they offer you Covington, would you be willing to fight him?
It depends. I have to see what happens in my next fight. Chandler's a top 10 guy. I just came off a title fight. If I go out there and beat this guy, I got to be close to another title fight again. And like I said, I'm not sure if 170 is the move in the next year or two, but right now it's not the move.
Okay, makes sense. So by the time you fight with Chandler, we would have a winner of champion in the lightweight division. Do you feel like it matters who wins for you to get a title shot?
I'm not sure, man. To try to do MMA math and the way the UFC is going to go about setting things up, it's hard to do. I've tried to do it in the past and been wrong. Sometimes they do stuff out of left field. So like I said, none of that matters until I fight Chandler, and then we take it from there. I don't like to create these scenarios that might never happen or future matchups that might never be there. I like to handle what's in front of me. And right now that's November 12th, Madison Square Garden, Michael Chandler. Everything else is just noise. This is the only thing that matters to me right now.
Makes sense. Who do you feel like would win though? Charles Oliveira or Islam Makhachev?
Man, that's a real tough one. I've been thinking about it since the fight got announced. I'm leaning towards Oliveira only because I've been in there with him and I know how dangerous he is.
Yeah, there's this thing about Oliveira where people come out. Even Justin Gaethje said he was one of the hardest people to hit him. So it's crazy. I feel like people don't have a proper understanding of what it is like to be in the octagon with him. But we know you're down to fight anyone. We just saw an example of that this last weekend. Actually, the weekend before that, when you offered to step up and save UFC 279 by facing Nate Diaz, you even posted your way. And we heard that you accepted the fight. UFC offered it to you, and you were on standby. What was the phone call like with the UFC?
It was good. It was surprising because my coach Mike Brown just flew into Louisiana the night before, and it was his birthday. So I ate some pasta. So I was a little bit heavier the morning they called, and then they offered me the fight. I accepted it, and then they had to go through hurdles with the athletic commission to try to make this thing happen for me to fly over same day, all this and that. Luckily for me, I have some friends who have the ability to and pilots to get me to Vegas on very short notice time. So I had that set up. Everything was good to go. But I think it was ultimately came down to the athletic commission. Tony had already weighed in and they just wanted to go that way instead. But I did accept and I did speak to the UFC and they were very thankful that because this isn't the first time that they've called me to fight Nate on short notice. And it's not the first time I've accepted. So they told me, we appreciate you always being down. And that's it.
Yeah, you and Nate Diaz were booked for a fight previously too. So does an outing with Diaz, is that something that still interests you maybe outside of the UFC?
Outside of the UFC? He's a free agent now. I still have a while to go before that's even a possibility. I still have a few fights, actually a good bit of fights left on my contract. And like I said, there are certain fights that make sense on a a day's notice at 170 pounds, but I don't need to be fighting at 170 pounds if I can continue to make the weight smoothly.
Yeah, that does make a lot of sense. Now, Poirier, you have done so much in the sport. You have a stacked resume. When you sit down and you look at what you're doing next to fight with Chandler, where do you feel like you go from here?
I feel like this is a huge, huge fight in my career. First of all, I've never lost 2 fights in a row in my whole career. Since an amateur, I've never lost 2 fights in a row. And, I want to prove to myself that I learn from mistakes. I get back to the grind, pick myself back up. And not only to myself, I want to prove to my family, but the fans, my daughter, that you can fall down and get back up and succeed. So this fight for me personally, it's very important for me to get a victory over another former world champion and add his name to my resume and legacy.
Yeah, and at some point down the line, it doesn't have to be immediately after Chandler, would a rematch with Justin Gaethje interest you at all?
Yeah, I mean, we had fight of the year, or it might have been runner-up for fight of the year in 2018 when we fought. I think it was 2018. That's another stylistic fight that the fans would love to see, and it's going to be chaos in there. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I think Justin just had surgery, and he's going to come back maybe the end of the year or beginning of next year. And we'll see how he looks when he returns. But I'm a big fan of his as well.
Yeah, you three guys are like the biggest fan favorites in terms of your fighting style and everything else. Another question that I feel like I have to ask almost is we still don't know when Conor McGregor is going to return. And you have 2 wins over him. You don't need to fight him at all, other than the benefits that may come with it, right? He's the one who needs to come to you and ask for the fight. Would you still be interested in a 4th outing with him?
We'll see. Obviously he's where the money's at. He's still, even after the losses, after whatever he does, he's still one of the biggest names in the sport. It grows my platform. It grows the things that's attached to my platform, with my charity, with other businesses. So it's good business, but at the same time, we got to see when he comes back, how he looks and where I'm at in the race to the title.
Makes sense. So yeah, there are still some things that need to be explored first. When you look at Nate Diaz fighting out of his contract, right, and he's now a free agent, that's a first time we've seen in the UFC a big star leaving out like that. Is free agency something that interests you too in the back of your mind, or do you feel like you want to end your career with the UFC?
I feel like the UFC is the biggest mixed martial arts organization in the world. Of course, I would love to end my career with the UFC, but I'm a prize fighter, and the prizes has to be right, and I think it's great for the young fighters out there to see a guy like Nate, who's earned his keep in the company and fought his way to free agency, and now he can go test the market and see what he's really worth. When offers start coming in for him and those things become public, other fighters see what the going rate is or what other companies are willing to toss on the table out there. It only helps lift up the sport for everyone.
Yeah, 100%. So I have a very important question for you, Dustin. Did you drink enough water today?
Yes, I'm super hydrated, man. I'm super hydrated. I got a Celsius here. I got a gallon of water over there. You know what it is, man. Stay hydrated always.
Hell yeah, we know you like to stay hydrated. How important is
Celsius? It's a major key. Major keys.
So how important is Celsius in your recovery process?
I do like Celsius BCA drinks I drink after training, but just in my fitness journey to get down the weight, to maintain weight, Celsius definitely helps me. I really do believe that it boosts my metabolism, and it's got the perfect amount of caffeine to not get me jittery. It's perfect, man. And the thing is, with Celsius, I've been using them before I was ever endorsed by the company, or before I started endorsing the company, whatever. I was a fan. Me and my wife were buying them at the grocery stores. It's cool because I do training camp here in Coconut Creek, and their main office is 15, 20 minutes away in Boca. So it all worked out.
Yeah, that's a solid partnership there. So what are some of your favorite products by Celsius, which you would recommend to the fans?
I like the heat, for like a pre-workout, do the heat. Those have a little bit more caffeine and get you going. But just through everyday normal life, these smaller can Celsius like Arctic Vibe or Peach Vibe, those I like cola. I don't know if it's a big seller or what's going on with cola. You have to order it or get them to send it to you, because I go to the grocery store. They have all the new flavors. They don't have cola, but cola's a sleeper.
Yeah, the OG there, here for the here and it, isn't that right?
Let's go.
So what are your thoughts on your partnership with Celsius and how it aligns with the values of your personal brand?
It's been great so far. Everyone from the company has been great. Every time I go to the office, we have a good time. I usually stay longer than I'm supposed to because we end up going sit in our office and just talking about my training and the flavors they're thinking about coming out with. And it's just a good, it's a good synergy we have. And it was an organic thing because I was drinking it before. So when I go there and speak to them about flavors and the uncarbonated drinks me and my wife used to buy with the green tea they had, it's just fun.
Well, that's a really cool story to hear. It's always nice to see you people using those brands before they get endorsed by them, right?
Sure.
So Dustin, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to have this interview here with us. Before we wrap it up, I would like to give you the floor to give a shout out to any sponsors, teammates, or anyone else you would like to.
Man, I want to thank Celsius for sure. Check out November 12th, Madison Square Garden. It's going down in the Big Apple. I'm excited about this fight. I've had a long layoff, but my body's healthy. I'm motivated. Yeah. Also, check out my nonprofit, the Good Fight Foundation. We teamed up with St. Jude's to bring the 5K to Louisiana, to Lafayette on the 24th this month. And we have a lot of other big things coming up. We have a big Thanksgiving drive. We're going to do a Christmas drive. So just keep up with everything I got going on.
I can't wait. I wish you all the best for your fight with Michael Chandler. I know everyone's super excited for it. Thank you, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you.